the studio. Welcome. Let me tip this. Good morning. Welcome into the studio at Two Girls Treasure. How are you doing? I'm Diane Pruitt. We are just getting cranked up this morning. Someone sent me a link to something on Pinterest, and I went down that rabbit hole, pun intended. You know, you can get lost on Pinterest if you're not careful. Well, yesterday we worked on our planters. We finished several of those, which was wonderful. Ariel came in after school and she worked on a few of them too, and that was even more wonderful. I love that the kid is so creative and likes to work. That's a win for any mom. We created this rose chintz paint inlay on this side of our rabbit basket, our wooden rabbit basket. And this side is a little more vague, a little more vintage. So we need to tone this down or we need to bring this up. And I think it would be easier to bring this up than it would be to tone this down. Then we need to figure out what we're going to do with these sides. I love that it's open weave, so to speak, and I think it would be great, especially when we put the little vintage grass in here, and that way the eggs will be settled in and nothing will fall out. The candy will stay in until you take it out. But I feel like the sides are too plain. So I was actually looking at some different ideas of what we could do with those sides because we need to do something. I love this. It's so beautiful. Such a pretty and delicate paint inlay finish. Do you remember how we did it? It wasn't hard, was it? Let's go ahead and bring this side up today because this is a little too delicate. That's kind of strong. We could sand this back. What would you do? I like that. I love that. Let's bring the tone up. More is more. Let's do this. All right, I put my rose chintz away, but it's right here. It's never far, and we washed all the paintbrushes yesterday evening, so we have a lot of fresh, clean brushes to work with. Love a fresh paintbrush. Let me grab one. I like this one for this job. Just a nice little 2-inch brush, 1-inch brush. This is the 1-inch. I love these little brushes. Unfortunately, to do this, I'm going to have to paint over what already exists. It's been on here for quite some time, so maybe I can get away with the paint over the top of it. Pardon me. The pollen game is strong in South Carolina right now. I think so. I think it has dried well enough that that layer of paint is going to go right over the top of that. I could have done clear coat, but then I would have had to have matched everything that existed, and that's not what I'm here for today. Let's keep this simple. Let's get a sip of coffee. The wisteria is blooming, and it's strong. We're going to spritz this. I haven't killed this spray bottle yet, but boy, I'm working on it. There we go. Now, we're just going to lay this over the top, just like we did yesterday. We're going to pull any of the wrinkles and ruffles out as we go. I don't mind the wrinkles, really. Said no woman ever. I don't mind the wrinkles in my paint inlay so much, but if I can keep it straight, I will try to keep it straight. We'll grab our cloth, and we'll just tamp this down into the paint. Now, I thought about using the lace stamp across these edges. I think it would look nice. It's very simple, but I think the basket challenge is about doing something not really over the top, but something really showy. So, in an effort to keep with the theme of our basket, a sweet country, French country, Italian country, American country, country rabbit. I think we could actually not only stamp it, but I think we could lay out, I think we could lay out some beautiful molds across these bars and really make it very, very fancy. I think we could also do these bars in a gentle pink. Clearly, this is a pink and white. And so we have a lot of options. We have a lot of molds. We have a lot of stamps. We definitely have a lot of paint inlays to work with. I really love those. And I think they warrant a second look with some trimming. And then we really want to talk about these ends, because how are we going to fancy up these ends as well? Because they do need fancying. So let's set that down, let it dry. Probably going to turn a fan on back here this morning. The temperature has dropped, so welcome to spring. I'll let that run, and I'll grab a cup for my brush. We'll wash those out. Might be today, might be tomorrow. And then let's look at our molds. I think I have a sweet idea, but let me grab some fancy pieces. Here we go. We want to look at the trimmings. Because these are definitely in our realm right here. So this is trimmings 3, and it has a lot of really great. There we go. Does that help? It does. There's a really a great selection of lacy, especially this piece right here. Very lacy inspired. I love dainty flourishes. Not really sure that this is my jam right here, because these are beautiful, and in clay you could straighten this little swoosh out, but I'm not really sure about that. It's my go-to when I want dainty and delicate. Now, I have always loved lock and key. You can do so much with this. That's killing me, y'all. There we go. You can do so much with this, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a lock and key. I love this one for this project, but it would need some ends on it simply because our basket is going to be longer than this mold will be. But it is a very beautiful piece to consider. And I love, absolutely love this rope. I don't know that it is as country as I would like. I think this one's too wide. And so that's 1 and 2. I'm missing a couple of trimmings. I know they're right here. We have this amazing rack with all of the mold sets on it. You know, this is a great one we hadn't considered. And let's see. So if you come to the studio, we have this fabulous rack. There's another one. And you can see all. And there's the other one. Boom. You can see all of the mold sets all at one time. Now, these are for studio use only. We do have some that are out of circulation, so we try to protect those. I love trimmings for, I really do, but I'm afraid that that is a little too wide for what we're putting together. It's one of my favorite ones, though, y'all. It really is. This is trimmings. This is the original trimmings. This is trimmings 1. And I absolutely adore this piece right here. And I think that gives the most gentle and floral vibe that matches our rose chintz. I think it gives us the opportunity to create a variety of looks that match what we're putting together. So if we were putting a different transfer or a different paint inlay on here, this particular floral trimmings gives us a lot of choices. I'm looking at Faux Bois. This is not one that I have used extensively. I do love it for its woody inspiration. I'm not sure that this jives with what we're doing right now, but it gives me some ideas about some other things. I think we're going to go with our original trimmings because this is the one that I believe suits our need the best. So let's scoot our paint back out of the way. We had a lot going on yesterday after we went off our tutorial. We got a lot of work done, tools and all. All right, I'm going to keep this out, and I'll scoot that completely out of the way. And we're going to work with this particular casting set, this particular mold. This is the original trimmings right here, so we definitely want to work with this. The pouring glaze, and now we need our clay or our resin. Which are we working with? I think these could be in clay. I think they could. That way, if we get a little bit of distressed or cracked finish, it'll look appropriate. I think it will. All right, so we're going to roll up sleeves. We're going to tip the camera down. You can see all of our paint goodness. I should not pull on that camera anymore. We're at the edge. That's as far as we're going to get. I keep my clay in the cooler here in the studio, so if you're ever looking for it when you're in, that's where we'll have it. And I have a fresh pad of clay right here. For this, I don't need to, but I'm going to. Ooh, and we have some in here too. Ooh, what do we have in here? We have a first generation set. Oh, that's just lacy and beautiful, isn't it? This is the first generation Baroque 6. Oh, that's very, very delicate. Very lacy. Is that the one we want? Let's set that down. And we have bugs and roses. And we have all the things in here. We have all things in here. You know, I absolutely love working with Iron Orchid Design products. That's beautiful, but it's not right. This is beautiful, but it's not right. Some of the first generation pieces are amazing. Oh, and we have this one. You know, kind of makes it hard. So do we want lacy? Do we want floral? Or do we want pearls? So difficult. You know what? I think we could do a cascade. I think we could. Let's do one and let's see which one we love the best. Oh, it makes it hard to choose. But I am going to dust my mold set with some cornstarch just because we've got it. Just because it's what we should do. Thank you for subscribing too, by the way. I saw that pop up and I appreciate it. I really do. If you need to do a longer piece, which we definitely need to do because these rails are very long, if you need to do a longer piece than what the casting is going to be, roll out your clay in a longer piece, skinny it up, a little bit more skinny, a little bit more, level it out a little bit, and then take your clay, lay it gently into your cavity. Don't break it. Pull it out, set it down, and start again. Go again. This will give you a nice continuous finish. And this is definitely longer than what we need, but look. Now we have one long pearl row. And let's take our rabbit. I'm just going to fold this over. We don't want to disturb it, but we do want to work. And we could take, oh, the pearls look so good on there. What do you think? I like the pearls, and I have an idea. I have an idea. Oh, I'm so excited. All right, we will cut the pearls right there. So that's the piece that goes right here on the top. And then that just leaves us a little bit, so I'll roll that back over. And we will roll out another full piece for our next level. I'm going to let this one sit here for just a minute. And I think what we could do next is use the lace. And then what we could do to finish it up, because you want something a little bit stronger on the bottom, is we could use that floral on the bottom. I think that would look very nice. So let's try it and see what it looks like. So we'll set this over here. I don't want to let it sit out too long before I get something on it. I want it painted. And I could just stick it back in the cooler. The cooler will keep it, the cooler will stiffen it because it will almost become frozen, but it will keep its shape. It'll dehydrate it just a little bit. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but it really will do a job. Now, we didn't need near as much for the pearls, but this is wider. So we'll roll that back over out of the way. And let's do our roll. We need a little bit fatter roll for this piece. So let me work the clay back together. Just knead it a little bit, just like you would dough. And then roll it so that you get a nice lengthy piece to work with. We don't need it near as long as I did the first one, but we do need it wider, thicker, if you will, than I did the first one because we're dealing with a bigger piece, a bigger cavity. So let's lay this in. And again, don't peel it out. If you need more, let it live. I peeled that out by accident. Gently. Gently, Diane. There we go. We'll add that back in. Don't end it right here. Roll it out. And then lay it back in, making it one contiguous piece. Smooth it. This is one of the first generation mold sets. This is before the awesome micro rim edge, which helps us so much. This is a little extra piece that goes right here. So we'll glue that back in. This is where the palette knife comes in very handy. Lay it in where it belongs and sort of weld it back together. Now this has a little break in it. Let's see if it's long enough for our wood space, our slat, if you will. Not quite. We're not quite long enough. So we needed just that extra little piece of clay I didn't use. So we go back. Not a big deal. We know we need about 2 more inches here. So let's lay this down. Set that out. And let's get a little bit more clay. The beauty of clay is that you can create the length of piece you need in one long sheet. You can't really do that with resin because you have to demold it. And then by the time you demold it, mix again, and pour again, you can't conjoin the pieces like you can here. So I'm going to roll a piece out. We're going to lay that back right there. I lost my little extra piece. We'll leave it. We'll leave it. All right. We have a little edge right here. So I'm going to try to lay that back in and cure that edge. And we'll just weld these together. Pull this gently. And then let's roll this out. Oh, it broke. It's okay. Oh, wow, it broke, it broke. I don't know that I'm going to be satisfied with that look because we're going for a much cleaner finish. So let's do this. If your clay casting does not come out the way you intend, don't panic. It's clay. Knead it back together so that it doesn't have any breaks in it. This is not quite dry. No, we don't want it yet. Leave it alone. Of course, you know I want to pull on it. You know I want to see. Looks good up at the top, too. All right, we'll leave it alone while we fix this problem. Knead it back together. And we'll roll it again. And we'll roll a longer piece. Now, the clay is not going to be as supple the second time. So don't panic if it starts separating. See mine separating? Don't panic. We used cornstarch, remember? So what we may need to do here there's pros and cons to using cornstarch. So we're going to have to be a little more creative about how we stretch this piece out. So rather than rolling it like that, we'll pat it out. This is how my grandmother used to make the biscuits. Use the heel of your hand. Use the heel of your hand and just flatten it. Stretch it out as you're flattening it. Go both ways. And we may have to be creative once we cast this in joining them together. So now just press the clay down in the cavity. We're going to have a lot of extra on the sides. We're not going to use it again right this minute, though. We're going to put it back in the cooler. We're going to let it gently. We don't have the micro rim edge on this particular mold set. We're going to try to salvage the extra clay. This may not be supple enough to work with right now. Air dry clay is just that. The longer it is exposed to the air, the drier it gets. And when you add cornstarch to that equation, you really you get what you're looking for, but not really, because we weren't looking for it to shred, but it's getting dry. So that is exactly what's happening. And we may not be able to make this the way I intended. It's okay. It's just clay. It's just a mold. We can overcome this problem. I'm going to roll this back up. I'm going to get a fresh piece out. I'm going to go set this back in the cooler. We're going to let this chill. It'll be just fine. Okay. Now let's demold this. We may have to just make 2 or 1.5 actually. So pretty. Set that to the side and we'll roll out a fresh piece. And we'll go again. Now we know we didn't need the whole thing. This is the length that we're going for right here, so we'll need both of these the same length. We need about 5 inches here out of the 6, maybe 4, but we'll get it. We'll put this together right here, pat this out. We'll cut off what we don't need. And then we will demold. Just roll it back gently. There we go. All right, now let's see how much of this we're going to need. Oh, we've got exactly what we need. We're going to cut this right here so the pattern continues. And we will weld that together with our putty knife, with our palette knife. And after we get it put together, we can use some extra clay or some caulking, some acrylic caulking, to fill in any gaps. And just reshape that edge so it goes together well. All right. Now we have 2 out of the 3, and we'll cut this right here. Perfect. All right, now for our last piece. I'm going to set these to the side so that they're not drying out with the fan. We're going to do this, and we know we're going to need to do extra. So let's crack open a fresh package. Oh, I love to crack open a fresh package of clay. And I'm careful with the plastic because I want to keep it good. Because I love working with the clay, and I want to keep as much of it good as possible. Back in the early days, we didn't know enough to know not to waste the clay, not to let it dry out. It took all of us teaching each other, and we finally figured it out. So it stays in the cooler in the studio. It's a good place for it to be. So I'm going to press this together, and we're going to make a roll out of this. Fresh clay. We have the micro rim edge on this trimmings mold set. So when we cast it, we can smooth it nicely. We know we need a little extra. So let's see what we can do here. Let's press this in. Make sure we fill that cavity. Smooth it. Look what that micro rim edge does. See how much easier it is to cast in these new style mold sets with that micro rim edge. It makes your work so much more beautiful and simple. Press that in. Hopefully I can keep that from having a separation there. Nice and smooth. Let's see if we can gently demold. Oh, that turned out so nice. That turned out very nice. And we should have enough based on the length of our pearls. We do. And we can trim this. And then we can put this extra clay right back in. We'll use it where we need it. But between here and there, we're going to place it back in. And we'll need to do this exact same casting for the other side. So let's set these to the side for just another minute. Let's get our cornstarch out of the way. And let's see what we have here. Because I feel like this has dried pretty well while we were working on our castings. So let's spritz this so the paper doesn't tear. Let's tamp it just to be sure all of it is damp. Don't rub or you may smear your images. And then let's pull back the curtain, so to speak. I'm going to turn the fan off. Let's pull back the curtain, so to speak, and show that beautiful finish. If you get any resistance on the paper, stop. You could try to pull from the other direction, or you may need to spritz just a little bit more water. The goal here is to not tear the paint inlay because it's reusable. This is the same piece we used yesterday on the other end of the rabbit box. And there we go. I think we have a good enough visual so we can lay that to the side for it to dry. And now let's take a look. I think we matched the rabbit energy end to end. Now let's see what our castings are going to look like when we put them in place. We have our little pearls here. Dots, pearls, I like them as pearls. We have our beautiful florals on the bottom. And we have our beautiful lace. Do we want the lacy up or down? Let's go lacy up. You want to? I like that. Lacy up. And these go together right here. So we can weld those together when we glue them on. But look how lovely our basket will be once we get these all put together. I think it'll be just fine. And then we'll replicate this look on the other side. I love it. I love it. There's one more thing I want to do to this top rail before we position our castings. And if I put the castings on right now, then I'm going to have to be very cautious on the other side. I'll have to probably turn the basket on the end. I don't want to do that right now because I want this to dry very well. This end is dried nicely, and then we will clear coat over both ends so we can continue to work without doing any damage. Well, I see that my morning is getting away from me. I want to do one more thing to this upper portion before time expires for me today. I have business to attend. The wind spinners are here. If you have been to our store in the spring, anytime in the past, you know this is the wind spinner time of the year, and we have so many different varieties of wind spinners this year. I'm so excited. We have Flossie the flamingo, a flamingo wind spinner. She's not extraordinarily tall, but she is very vibrant. She has a lot going on. Flossie is out on the highway side front porch. We do have some on the market side front porch. We're so southern in Florence, South Carolina, that we have 2 front porches at Two Girls Treasure. Please feel free to stop by anytime. I'm in the studio at Two Girls Treasure, just a half mile off I-95 on Highway 52 in Florence, South Carolina. I'm Diane Pruitt, and I'm getting ready to go set out some more beautiful items and watch those wind spinners turn around. Thank you for being here with me this morning, or if you are catching it on replay, thank you so much for watching our tutorials. We post the pictures on Facebook because they seem not to be mad about that, and we do our live tutorials right here on YouTube. Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern. This morning, I'm sorry, I got lost on Pinterest. Have you ever done that? Then we can be friends. Y'all have a beautiful day. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. I'll see you right back here tomorrow morning, 9-ish a.m. Eastern Time. Bye, y'all.